Okay, I know this is a strange question for a film video essay, but hear me out. What kind of lover are you? Maybe you're like John Cusack's character in Say Anything, unabashedly willing to hold out the boombox in the middle of the night no matter who sees it. Are you more low-key like our cowboys in Brokeback Mountain, or so low-key that it doesn't materialize in any way in the physical form like In the Mood for Love? Really, what kind of lover are you? I want you to think in your brain and take a journey back to the 80s, 90s, or for me, early 2000s, to your first school crush. I remember one of my first crushes was in Mrs. Two's class in 2nd grade. Her name was Alice, and she was so cute and had a calmness about her which was rare for 7-year-olds, and it made me just feel at ease. So picture your Alice or Adam or whatever. Please don't hit your head too hard restarting up the old memory machine. You have it? Alright. Who did you tell? Did you go to your crush directly and tell her you liked her? Hey, me and you sitting in the tree, KISSING. Were you more coy about it and gave them an extra Valentine's Day card back when everyone got Valentine's Day cards? Did you get a friend to tell another friend to tell one of her friends? Did you let the world know? Your mom, your dad, her directly, her friends, your friends? Were you unashamed to yell it through the rooftops? Or did you keep it to yourself? Not tell a soul, not even a close confidant. Did you keep it all in your head? Because it wasn't disappointing that way. No rejection could ruin the little slice of an idea you had in your head. Your so-called friend couldn't steal them from you if you didn't tell them about it. Everything's perfect in your head. So I ask again, what kind of lover are you? Think about nowadays. You're probably a mix of both. I know I am at certain times. I never told Alice I had a crush on her. The thought of rejection was just too much for my little 7-year-old heart, but nowadays, I'm very different. Nowadays, if I love you, I want the world to know. I'll unabashedly read you Shakespeare sonnets in the middle of Walmart. I'll cook you breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you need. I'll tell my friends, family, and even cats about you all day until they plead me to talk about anything else. Love that hits that certain spot ignites a fire that is so vigorous in my combustible heart that it just makes me want to go to the top of a parking structure and just scream, "You're more beautiful than a summer's day. Your brain is an adventure I never grew weary of. I can talk about you till my face goes blue. I love you." This isn't just for people, of course. As you can guess, this is how I feel about my real babies. The movies, baby. I do not believe in gatekeeping. If you love something, why not let as many people as possible feel that same great feeling you experience? More people loving something you did shouldn't make you love it less. I'm not trying to sound like the polyamorous AI from Her, but the more people you love loving the thing you do should make your love even stronger, right? So this is the video incarnate of me on the parking structure, showing love. We're gonna dive into movies I love oh so much that don't get as much love as they deserve, and why that is. What's shaking, baby? My name is Nico Swan, and this is Hidden Gem Movies, How to Love and Not Gatekeep. Don't you know my love is wild, oh, wild, my love for you is growing wild. To dive into the hidden gem, we have to uncover what it even is, or how it became hidden. A hidden gem is a work of beauty that is not widely known about. I understand gatekeeping because, by definition, if your hidden gem is not so hidden anymore, then it's just a gem. A gem you can go to your local jeweler and get with your last paycheck. Now, how a movie becomes a hidden gem is easy. There are 10,000 movies produced every year, so it's really easy to miss more than a few, particularly nowadays, as attention has been so divided that there's not really a collective hive mind viewing culture anymore. Back in the 90s, everyone watched Seinfeld or ER, and if they didn't, I'm sure they could at least tell you about it. Now with so many streaming services, there's not one big thing. I do this interesting experiment where I ask people if they've seen Squid Game, and it's so surprising the sheer amount of no's I get, because it was Netflix's most watched show ever. With this fragmented culture, you don't even have to spend your time watching other television. You can doom scroll on TikTok for 4 hours instead, or watch a Twitch streamer do whatever it is they do. There's something for everyone. So in this world, something becoming hidden is easier than easy. Slipping through the cracks is almost the default. I'm sure you could think of something you watched where you thought, this is great. Why isn't no one talking about this? To highlight this new age we have entered, let's take a trip to the height of Netflix when it officially became #1 and completely changed how we were going to watch things forever. 2012.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck.
In this year, we go from the more traditional films shot on actual film and released in theaters to the more accessible digital cameras alongside the streaming model that gave more accessibility to independent festival movies. So in this era, we get our first hidden gem, safety not guaranteed.
I'm certain I'm being recorded, I'm certain I'm being followed.
What's wrong with this guy?
What makes you think there's something wrong with him?
Because he thinks he can go back in time.
Which most certainly is a gem, but isn't the most hidden. But I gotta ease you guys into the hidden, okay? I can't just start off with Tarkovsky's unreleased clown movie off the jump. It was produced on the very humble budget of $750,000. Yet is filled with so much charm that eclipses all signs of any financial restraint. It follows 3 magazine writers as they are writing a story of a very unique man who puts an ad in the newspaper saying, "Wanted, someone to go back in time with me. This is not a joke. You'll get paid after we get back. Must bring your own weapons. Safety not guaranteed." I have only done this once before. And as much praise as this little indie movie got for the time, it was not enough. This whimsical, perfectly 2012 in every way movie has a tone that was completely new for cinema and is almost like a time capsule of the twee era. There's a sense of warmth beneath the bones of this film that grabs at your heart and lets you know everything is going to be okay. A majority of the film's heart comes from the great actors that were cast.
Why are you sitting here? Why would you be sitting on your computer? You're a young man. You got the whole world ahead of you.
Jake Johnson plays the charismatic magazine writer who nostalgically lives in the past. And this was my first introduction to Jake Johnson. Every line he said had me dying of laughter. He's a real natural, and though humorous, his voice gives a sense of comfort, which I'm sure if you've seen Spider-Verse, you felt said comfort in his tone. His character brings along 2 interns, one played by Karan Soni, and the other, Aubrey Plaza. Guys, I can't talk about Aubrey Plaza. She just means so much to me. She's so great.
Do you sell guns here? Something sexy and affordable with killing power?
Is there a pest
Well,
problem?
if your ad had been written properly, I may have a better idea of what I need. I hope you worked harder on your calibrations.
My calibrations are flippin' pinpoint, okay?
And her character's mix of openness, cynicism, and fearlessness is perfect for this story because she interacts with one of the most peculiar men seen on screen, the man who puts the ad in the newspaper, played by the great Mark Duplass. His character is such a weirdo in a way that only he could play. He plays weirdos so well that it gives you suspicions about him in real life. Duplass and Plaza's dynamic is great in this film. It's like a cat and mouse game. He thinks he's building a time machine, and there's times where Aubrey and the audience are like, he's absolutely crazy, and times where you're like, maybe not. But even though you have these thoughts of sanity, you still connect with him and his struggles as a human being. Mark Duplass has the unique skill of playing characters where you think they're insane, off their rockers, but you still connect to them and relate to them on such a deep level regardless. By the end of the film, whether he's actually built a time machine doesn't matter because you've taken this internal journey with him.
You come to that launch site, you take my hand, and I'll show you who can't time travel.
What's your story about?
I don't know anymore, actually.
My hope that if you're watching this video, something incredible has happened.
No matter how well it was received, it wasn't enough. I truly believe it was one of the best works of the 2010s, but you won't see it on a lot of those lists. What makes it hidden isn't just the post-Netflix world, it's something that might hinder a lot of artworks in the mainstream, which I felt happened till I saw the TV Glow last award season. And that reason is it's purely contemporary. Contemporary ahead of their time works are usually well received, but people don't realize till really after the fact how ahead of their time they were. This is how I feel about another Mark Duplass film, 2014's Creep. Watching this in that one friend's basement in 2014 was one of the most contemporary experiences ever. The lines of comedy and horror and cringe was all so blurred and really resonated with us teens. Like Marty McFly at the prom, ahead of its time. Before streaming, when people somewhat knew about the same movies in theaters, there was different ways something could become a hidden gem. Well, there was really one big way.
Welcome to Sundance.
In 1978, star actor and filmmaker Robert Redford wanted to highlight truly independent cinema. He wanted to cultivate a scene where new filmmakers could not only be discovered, but supported. And what better place than Salt Lake City, away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, where you could just focus on the work. Nowadays, it has become a behemoth, and as much as I still love it, it's almost like an industry of its own. Most films there have Hollywood stars, big budgets, but a great perk of it becoming its own Goliath is most films that do well there get some form of distribution. You can find one of the Sundance movies on the many streaming services. For free on YouTube, you can self-distribute direct to consumer on Amazon. You don't even need permission. So most films from the festival will eventually be seen by the masses. But back in the early years, that wasn't the case. Most distribution at the time had to have your film in theaters. It was rare that a festival darling going direct to DVD could have any type of success without that initial traditional push. And with the nature of how independent and low budget the films were, having a suitable theater film for most audiences were few and far between, which caused a lot of films to slip through the cracks. These filmmakers could get their films into the biggest festivals in the world, and then the film could go on to never be heard of again. So let's find our early 2000s indie darling hidden gem. When we're talking about early Sundance darlings, I'm thinking of the very human first film from Tom McCarthy, The Station Agent, starring Peter Dinklage, or Kenneth Lonergan's debut film, You Can Count on Me, with a Mark Ruffalo performance that will restore your faith in everything. But those had decent theater runs. An interesting, very unperfect film that didn't is Vin Diesel's debut, where he writes, produces, directs, and stars in it, Strays. I guarantee you didn't know Vic started off in his Orson Welles bag. It was made for $47,000, which is very obvious watching as they couldn't really afford to finish it properly. So my pick for the early 2000s indie darling that truly is an actual hidden gem is David Gordon Green's debut film, George Washington, shot for $42,000.
My friend George said that he was gonna live to be 100 years old.
David Gordon Green has quite the interesting career with Pineapple Express and helming the Halloween franchise. But in this beautifully humble film, we see a side of his artistic expression that's rare to see in his later filmography. This film follows a group of young kids coming to grips with the hard world of choices and consequences. During an innocent game in an abandoned amusement park, a tragedy occurs, and we see the kids as they struggle to balance their own ambitions and relationships against a tragic occurrence. What makes this film really great is it's a true Southern Gothic. A lot of films use that term, and it's rare that it feels justified or satisfies that need in my spiritual taste buds for what I consider that type of story. The rustic Southern background of the film is a real main character. The choices of the kids almost feels arbitrary, as the somewhat stale environment they're in seems to give a bit of predeterminedness to their outcomes. The character Nisha narrates this film, and she does a good job painting the world the film is in. And even though she's the main character in the story, the Southern Gothic feel of it has her feeling almost like a passenger in her own life.
They had worked in wars and built machines. It was hard for them to find their peace.
Definitely the style and the use of narration is inspired, I would say, originally by the Sesame Street documentaries that have that naturalistic tone of voice and the improvised style of the children's perspective. But seeing it again and evaluating where the point of view was going to come from, watching films like Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven, where Linda Manns is not by any means the central character or even necessarily involved in most of the story of Days of Heaven, but her voice and her perspective brings this freshness and this childhood innocence to it that I've always thought was beautiful.
This is a hard-hitting movie. Though it does have moments of giving you a slight twinkle in your eye. it has moments of optimism and acceptance, and it's really worth seeing. And the real best part about it being an indie darling is it's only an hour, 29 minutes. Though a lot of 90s, 2000s hidden gems got small releases, which caused a hidden factor, some movies aren't released at all. Some movies, you gotta be Indiana Jones himself to uncover these relics from the depths of Earth. So we will call this category the Hidden Shelved Gem Relic. Jerry Lee Lewis shelved his Day the Clown Cried movie. Roger Corman purposely made the 1994 Fantastic Four movie just to shelve it. My lawyer advised I no longer talk about David Zaslav anymore because I just can't control my anger when I bring him up. Tarantino purposely destroyed his first real no-budget film, My Best Friend's Birthday, and then lied and said it burned. He just knew that the brash, low-budget film wouldn't be a great starting point to his career. The 1996 film Don Plum, which stars a young Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, who at the time called themselves the Pussy Posse because of their infamous woman hobbying behavior. This film was just them improvising being themselves, which is a problem because these former child stars were young, famous men in the 90s who were willing to call themselves the Pussy Posse. I'm sure the things they were really talking about could be brought to the Geneva Conventions. Most adults on their team knew the childish locker room talk would not read well, so they sued for it not to be released. Just like that, it was shelved in North America. Though most of these films are hidden, they aren't necessarily gems by any means. Most really hidden movies aren't, because movies are so expensive. If something even has a little bit of a chance to be half decent, it will get released. So we have to go to our only real option. A gem that was technically released, but because of its off-color subject matter or controversy, it was somewhat hidden or suppressed. Sorry for any gore lovers out there, but that's just not my thing. You will not find any borderline torture NC-17 stuff in this category. I want to get deeper than that. Films where the concepts and ideas of it alone got it banned. So banned that you have to be Sherlock Holmes to find it. This is rare because film as an art form is pretty lenient with ideas. We've seen many dark subject matter films get the time of day. But for many, this movie was just too much.
I felt she doesn't even know I exist. I bore people. Who is that boring person? They think. I've never before met anyone so boring.
Todd Solondz's 1998 film, Happiness. This is a great film that covers a difficult subject matter, but it's not difficult for the sake of being difficult. It's not shock value. It's a story that bravely tackles it from a real artistic perspective. Though some of the subject matter is bleak, it is a dark comedy and takes you through so many waves of emotions, which is a trait I'm really drawn to on screen. I don't really want to give too many details about the plot because I think this film is best to go in completely open-minded, but I would suggest a general trigger warning for just everything. If most things bother you in a way, then you should skip it, but if you have a strong stomach for the taboo, watch it. I know when I finally saw it, the myth of it being so controversial had become so big that I was surprised at how tame it was compared to my expectation. So tame that I was shocked by how hard it was to find. You damn near need 2 VPNs and need to know a sketchy guy named Tony to get a link, which is rare for a movie with this many well-known actors. Alas, the distributor refused to distribute this NC-17 rated movie. So matey, don't feel bad being a pirate watching this. We talked about how easy it is for modern gems to slip through the cracks. What if I told you most hidden gems are short films? Thousands and thousands made each year that go unwatched by many. Even film buffs don't watch as many short films. Be honest, don't lie. Think about how many you have seen. Being your oh so vulnerable video essayist, I'll admit, I've probably seen maybe 3 all of last year. Even the highly Oscar nominated ones, they get missed. They aren't in theaters, sometimes they aren't online right away. Gems that are just easily lost. So many great gems I have seen that no one talks about. So the only thing keeping them alive is my pure memory of it. I really liked Sania Fardaragi's Waiting, which has such a captivating aesthetic and vibe to it. When I think of quarantine, I think of it. Dan Trachtenberg's Portal short film really highlights what he is capable of as a director. The heartwarming Russian roulette, where our protagonist Omigos an astronaut, will never leave my heart. Then there's this one that probably was one of the first short films I ever saw and was a mainstay in early YouTube, Late Bloomer, which hilariously puts the vibe of H.P. Lovecraft in the world of a sex ed class.
We all saw it sprawled across the blackboard the second we stepped into Miss Lovecraft's class. Its wingspan reached from one end of the room to the other, hovering above our heads. It looks like an octopus, I replied.
But for this category, I have to pick a film I saw a couple years back. It lit a type of fire in me, which is rare for a short film to accomplish. It caused me wanting more and more of what I just saw, whether it be a movie or a series or anything. The director just created a world you want to live in just a little longer. This film is Kate Tsang's 2014 So You've Grown Attached. Her film follows an imaginary friend that is forced to consider retirement when his creator starts to grow up. This film has such a unique childlike wonder through the lens of maturity that you just have to see. The reason so many shorts and films become hidden is that they get lost in translation. We understand how most features are supposed to go. The hero wins, the lovers kiss at the end, but shorts operate on a different film language. They are succinct in nature. This lost in translation leads us to another category of hidden gem. Foreign language film. Los americanos necesitan más ayuda porque es muy difícil. I'm just kidding, guys. Us Americans are so used to watching movies under our native tongue that a lot of them feel that having to read subtitles is too much of a hassle, which is a shame because this can lead to missing out on so many great films. Great films like the mesmerizing thriller The Lives of Others or the enchanting Umbrellas of Cherbourg. But my pick here is the easily slept on Relatos Salvajes, or Wild Tales from Argentina.
¿Alguien más conoce a Gabriel Pasternak aquí?
This film is an anthology that follows 6 separate stories, whose characters find themselves facing a reality that shifts and suddenly turns unpredictable, crossing the divide between civilization and barbarism. And baby, y'all know I love a dark comedy. And this movie is equal parts dramatic, but so satirical that it really lights fireworks in your brain. Think about the state of not only our world, but the lens of which it is shown in the film. Because it is 6 separate short stories, each film doesn't have a single dull moment. It's like a LeBron highlight video. Every shot's going in and it's batting 100. I want to give a big shout out to my Spanish tutor who told me to watch it, because after it was over, I literally just put it right back on. Something I've only done with films on my all-time favorite list. The beauty of this film is that you can go in at any moment. Halfway through, near the end, it doesn't matter, it still hits. I challenge you to just watch the opening scene and tell me you're not hooked after. We mentioned being lost in translation causes our oh so beautiful gems to be hidden. But it's not just limited to language barriers. It can be style or production. If something looks cheap, then the average person usually won't be able to watch, which I understand. For the casual, the shaky camera work, shoddy dialogue, questionable amateur performances can just take you out of it. But if you get past that, there's an entire world of cinema to be found, particularly with a lot of great directors' early works. In our category, the You Never Forget Your First Love hidden gem. Nolan's first film following really hits. Shane Carruth's Primer. It follows director David Robert Mitchell's The Myth of the American Sleepover. The hard-hitting thriller Coherence. But for my pick, I'm not only going with a hidden gem movie, I'm going with a hidden gem director. This director is the only director on my all-time favorites list that people usually don't know who he is. He's Ireland's own John motherfucking Carney. He directed the beloved but still underappreciated Sing Street, the oh-so-comforting Begin Again. Music is a main course in Carney's films, which I absolutely adore, but contributes to his hidden gem nature because most people get turned off by too much music. There's a trait in Carney's movies that I just love oh so much that is rare in a lot of modern art. That trait is sincerity.
There's a certain kind of tolerance for and almost need right now in audiences to seem like things are handmade and crafted by a bunch of people as opposed to sort of made by this big committee or studio. So
his work is just so earnest and unafraid to bask in the cheese and to smile and to cry and to be human. Being human is too cringe. Everything's a fucking joke. If there's a heartfelt moment, it has to be interrupted by some jokey quip at the camera. It can't be basked in. John Carney, you're the man, and that's why your film Once is my pick.
So what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
It's very low budget, shot for $150,000. It is filled with so much heart that it just doesn't matter, and the songs stand on their own. The film follows this vacuum repairman by day, street musician by night, as he hopes for his big break. Then he meets a Czech immigrant who earns a living selling flowers. She tells him that she is also an aspiring musician. The pair decide to collaborate, and the songs that they compose reflect the story of their blossoming love. Though the story is simple, it just has an it factor to it, and I love it oh so much. It's one of the rare physical medias I have. God bless the Irish. Our next category is, sorry, we've already seen it. There are complete genres that become hidden. Just imagine being one of the sci-fi movies that came out around the Star Wars craze, or being a pretty decent band also from Liverpool during Beatlemania. For our pick in this category, I'm going with a comedy, because oh boy are they really dead. Comedies used to be in theaters and make crap tons of money. Just pure comedies, not superhero plus comedy, just comedy. My pick is the instantly quotable Southern Heist film, Logan Lucky.
Charlotte Motor Speedway. I know how they move the money.
My life of crime is over.
With a performance by Daniel Craig that will have you walking away thinking, he might be the best actor ever.
I am incarcerated.
Every scene will have you looking it up on YouTube for a rewatch after. But if you want a little taste before you really dive in the movie, I would suggest the hilarious, painfully relevant prison riot scene where their demands are new George R.R. Martin books.
The problem is that The Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring have yet to be published, so those aren't available.
That is total bullshit. George R.R. Martin was supposed to deliver The Winds of Winter to his publisher over 2 years ago. Those two guys who transferred in from federal last month knew about all the new stuff with the hot chick and our dragons.
I believe those two inmates had that information from watching a TV series. Again, I'm reading to you. The series has jumped ahead. It's no longer following the book.
Though there are a lot of movies that are hidden gems, most aren't so hidden. I'm sure you've seen at least one of the movies I mentioned, because cinema is the art form with the ultimate gatekeepers. They can decide what gets made, what gets shown in theaters, and there's a bit of a barrier. Like we mentioned, most movies cost a lot of money to even make it watchable to the casual viewer. So there's going to be equal parts marketing efforts to get people to see the movies. Music is usually the opposite of movies in a sense that so many songs are released and it's so attainable. The casual viewer can tell a $15,000 movie from a $15 million one, but the casual listener can't tell $1 million song from one someone made on their iPhone with the GarageBand. And hell, a lot of great mainstream songs are recorded on iPhones. Music is such an attainable art. So attainable that hundreds of good songs are released a day that most people will never hear about. It's my favorite hobby to do deep dives on YouTube and find hidden songs that should be given more love. One of the first Midwest emo bands, American Football, famously released their debut album in 1999 with little ambition the summer after college, then broke up. Two moved to Chicago, one went to Colorado to become a professor, and life moved on. But the art didn't. The art stayed. The little project that only sold 75,000 copies skyrocketed in 2014. Suddenly, this hidden gem was not so hidden anymore. It became uncovered by music archaeologists, if you will. The demand for the band increased, causing reprints of the album. The now professor was surprised that students kept recognizing him and had to leave for a little to tour with a band that he didn't think much about from his college days. This is why I'm not a gatekeeper, because that is just so cool to me. It shows how much value the hidden gem has. Just because your little piece of art you worked on is only affecting a small number of people doesn't make it any less great. Maybe one day some art archaeologists can come and undust it and blast it to the world. Alex G's unreleased songs almost have a life of their own, which is hilarious. Imagine being one of the rare artists that break through and make a living doing what you love. People listen to your songs across the world, only for a subsection of your fans to listen to more shit you made when you were 14 messing around. Unreleased Alex G is like a genre in its own. I'm so embarrassed that I'm one of those that listen to 20 times more unreleased Alex G than released Alex G. Art archaeology helped me uncover Curdle Motif, an unassuming duo from 2009 that got some views from this Neutral Milk Hotel cover.
The only girl I've ever loved was born with roses in her eyes, but then they buried her alive one evening.
They went on to release an album that just speaks to the rhythms of your spirit. It makes you scream, why didn't this band get a Grammy or at least a record deal? There was none of that. They broke up, went on with their lives, and their music just lives in a strange time capsule on YouTube, showing that great art can become hidden. There's so much to how life turns out. Luck, hard work, the unknown. Success can be as simple as a butterfly landing on a flower a certain way. There's a world where Tarantino is just some old guy still working at a video store. There's a world where this band gets signed. There's a world where your local high school rapper somehow blew up. If you're looking to love something hidden, you don't have to go on some vast quest. It could be around the block, the town over, in your house. There's so many hidden gems around us. Hidden gems in our peers and our love life. You just have to open your eyes and find it. When your friends send you something they created or vice versa, let's really take it in. So our next category is the hidden gems are the friends we made along the way. This is my friend Matt Larimer, aka Spare Key. He's one of the most talented music producers I know. He can touch anything and turn it into gold. Any genre. He's a true hidden gem. Sometimes the hidden gem is just a local band. This is Who Boy, a local band I really love. So many great songs, and though broken up, still one of my favorite bands of all time. And I said look within, so I gotta show some love to myself with my film, Fly High DIY. If you love art, you love making it, receiving it, then you will love this film. It follows a group of friends as they embark from Detroit to Philly to uncover their DIY music scene. This heartful film really highlights the love of community and why we even make art in the first place. We don't make it to get a record deal or to make millions of dollars. It makes us think to when we were really young and just made it to make it. I used kind of a hosh-posh word of art archaeologist earlier, but there's so many actual film archivists that are dedicated to preserving slept-on cinema, and they are the true heroes of cinema. Janus Films, Scorsese's World Cinema Restoring Project, IFC, and most famously, Criterion. The people behind these companies love film. You could sense it in their actions. They know how to show their love. Cinema is worth fighting for, it's worth preserving, and it's worth admiring no matter how hidden. So finally, let's show love to one of my favorites and the ultimate hidden gem from this collection, Metropolitan. I remember where I was the second time I watched this film, when it truly became cemented as one of my favorite films of all time.
The Moderna.
AstraZeneca shot. There is a shortage of decent jobs.
The shortage of product has extended to just about everything.
In horror.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
Time for American troops to come home.
Get rich off GameStop while bankrupting a bunch of hedge funds.
It's been a fun ride with GameStop.
Hardly any of these police ever go to prison.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
Sending Dogecoin to the moon.
August 2021. I was 21, nearing the beginning of a new decade. And like most 21-year-olds in the dawn of a new era, I was going through so many life changes. Me and my best friends / roommates at the time had such a big falling out that everyone had moved out of the house within a month to go in the lease. I sat in the empty house and was saddened by the 7+ years of friendships just gone down the drain. A strange, usually unexpressed type of heartbreak rarely seen. So like a lot of times when my brain is rushing too fast for my little heart to follow, I decided to put on a movie to put me at ease. I thought to myself, Nico, you're paying all this money on Criterion Channel. You should actually watch something from it instead of just doing what you usually do and putting on a random early 2000s rom-com. I thought, why not go with a classic comfort movie? And a movie I liked, but knew it would hit harder in the vast loneliness of the empty house.
I mean, for them, men are either dates, potential dates, or date substitutes. Well, I find that dehumanizing.
They're all so very Metropolitan.
The film follows a poor but politically radical college student who is adopted by a wealthy aristocratic social group of young New Yorkers. His unique background and viewpoints are a catalyst to alter his and their lives. Gathering in a Manhattan apartment, the group of friends meet to discuss social mobility, Fourier's socialism, and play bridge in their cocoon of upper-class society, until our protagonist challenges their worldview. After I watched it for a second time, it was like an illuminated truck crashed into my brain, and I had a complete understanding. I connected to it on a deeper level that I didn't think was possible. This film gives such a unique feeling. It makes you nostalgic about a place and a time you've never really been. The director Whit Stillman purposely puts the world in a place out of time, untraceable. The 50s apartments, the time period fluid costumes, checkered cabs, the speech. This 1990 film could easily be set in the 50s or the 90s or even now. It operates on its own plane that is just very comforting. The dialogue is so naturalistic and captivating. The only piece of art I could really say has somewhat similar vibe is my favorite novel, The Catcher in the Rye.
I don't read novels. I prefer good literary criticism. That way you get both the novelist's idea as well as the critic's thinking.
Metropolitan has all the hidden gem traits we mentioned. The indie darling that premiered at Sundance. Its $225,000 budget can be seen, but its charm pushed it all the way to the Oscars. It's a talkie movie, which was very common in the 90s. Criterion restored it and gave new life to it. It's pulsing with the indie spirit as Walt Stillman pulled the money from friends and pulled favors. It was made with heart, and that can be felt. But what really made this film hit like a truck that 2021 night is because I watched this film accurately portray how fragile young friend groups are. The love is real but flimsy. People grow jealous of each other. The groups start dating each other. Things get weird. Friends usually don't talk about things they should, like romantic partners do. Things get unsaid, people lose interest, people grow apart. What they love and value change. People grow up. It feels so good to love and express that love and discover love. Whether it be movies, art, friends, life. I told you, doesn't it just feel better to profess your admiration for hidden gem movies? How to love them and not gatekeep. Babes, thank you so much for watching, and if you made it this far, I swear you are my hidden gem, and I have some form of love for you. And to show that you're part of the Video Gaga community, you really watched it, at the end of your comment, put code word Eros, so I know you really made it. And can you guys believe this used to be attached to me? This used to be attached to my scalp. Anywho, my name is Nico Swan. I'm a lifelong filmmaker, lifelong film watcher. I'm curious how many of these films you've actually seen. So maybe I stumped you on a few, maybe you knew a couple. I'm assuming you knew at least half, you know, like they weren't the craziest deep cuts, but I kind of had like a method going in. Like I followed a lot of you guys back on Letterboxd, and I used that to help me with this video because I was looking at it to see if you guys logged some of these movies, and I was like, okay, if only a couple of you logged it, it's a hidden gem. And I was like, I looked at it, I was like, oh, if most of you guys logged it, probably not so hidden. So it was a factor. And if you want to follow me, it's Nico X Swan. I always follow the first couple people back. I followed everyone back the first time, and then it got crazy. So I'm following the first couple few. If you want to follow some of my actual films or my life or my memes or just me, I'm on the Instagram at Nico X Swan. And that's pretty much me on everything if you prefer any other social media. Subscribe so you can see next week's video. I'm so excited about this video. I think this video will shake the culture. It's going to be about Get Out and Shrek and how they're almost pretty much the same movie. Okay, love you guys. Bye.